Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay, he's Maddie, and this is your Thursday night football pregame show, the premium pregame show for Thursday nights. OTH in the house. So, Maddie, how you doing this week?
Yeah, good man. I'm flying out to Thailand tomorrow, so you'll be getting your content from Thailand instead for the next month, which will be exciting.
Live from a Thai prison.
Like, well, a Thai school, so I guess kind of a very similar
Hey,
vibe.
make sure
Yeah,
both of you don't get arrested because in Thailand, if your family don't bring you food while you're in jail, you don't get fed.
yeah, I think we should be okay on the getting arrested front. Yeah, uh,
Well, then
yeah,
you
it
ain't
did.
gonna have a good time. If you're on the borderline of getting arrested, it ain't a good time.
Yeah, it's going to involve some. It's going to involve some fun times for watching NFL games because they're 7 hours ahead of me here, and I have to watch games at 6 o'clock here. So it'll be uh 11. Like the kickoffs will start at 11. No,
PM or
much later than
AM?
that. PM, much later than that.
Huh.
But basically, I'll be able to kick. Basically, I'll catch the primetime game at the end of the day. That'll be my morning watch as I'm getting ready to go to school. So that's going to be fun. I'm
That's
excited
weird.
about it. Yeah,
So,
it's weird, right? It's weird. It's going to be exciting, though. Very excited.
so
I also had a very relaxing week last week on Sunday because the Cowboys didn't play. So that was nice. Very chilled out, very relaxed.
well, you should have a very relaxing week this week with the Cowboys playing, but we
Well,
won't get
hopefully.
into that till Sunday.
Yeah,
All right.
hopefully.
So a little bit of fun for everybody to start the show.
I have been stressed out about this actually.
It's not that bad. I know. I didn't tell you it wasn't that bad because it's not. I'm just going to throw out names, and as of this season, you tell me if they're having a good season or a bad season.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's all right.
I wanted
thought
to
you were
get
going
your
to say,
anxiety up and then not let it off.
yeah, I thought you were going to say something like, I want you to go through these quarterbacks and tell me if they're better than Justin Fields. And then that
No,
would have
and
just been
no,
awful.
no. And I left off the guys we already know the answer to if they're having a good season or not, like Dak, Kirk, Mahomes. I left those off, and I left the
All right.
absolute worst off. I just want to see what you tell me about the guys that kind of in the middle this
Cool.
year.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right, Trevor Lawrence. No fence riding either. You got to
Yeah,
pick.
okay. Good season. Building on a shitty situation last year.
Geno Smith.
Awesome season.
Russell Wilson.
Bad season down to terrible coaching.
Tom Brady.
Bad season by his standard.
All right, Aaron Rodgers.
Awful season.
Jared Goff.
Good season.
Marcus Mariota.
That's a good one. Good season. Good season.
Kyler Murray.
I'm gonna have to say bad season because I expected so much more.
Andy Dalton.
Great season. The Red Rifle.
Ryan Tannehill.
Bad season.
Danny Dimes.
Good season. Really good season.
Jimmy G.
Good season.
Justin Herbert.
I'm still gonna ride with good season on that one.
All right. Now, tier 2 only has 3.
Right.
Baker Mayfield.
Bad season up until this point.
Davis Mills.
Bad season.
Matt Ryan.
Awful season.
So everybody in tier 1 has better stats and quarterback rating than Justin Fields. Baker Mayfield, Davis Mills, and Matt Ryan, Justin Fields are all a push in stats. They're all about equal in stats. That's all. That's where the game came in.
Yeah, knew it. So with that, I think obviously I think Justin Fields, where I've judged a lot of those players on is through expectation, and the Bears had no expectation whatsoever. So
I just felt a little attacked last week, so I had to put that out in a fun way. I'm not being
Yeah.
insensitive. In a fun way.
Yeah.
So I went through and I'm like looking at all of the stats and ratings, and I'm like, this is kind of fucking interesting.
Yeah,
Like,
I by no means think that Justin Fields is playing one of the best seasons in football. I just think they're actually building something there in Chicago, which is a good like that. It's a good building block for them considering where they've come from.
and I watched Chris Sims the other day, and I know Chris Sims smokes weed because they make jokes about it.
Mm-hmm.
I need to smoke whatever that motherfucker's smoking because he called Justin Fields the best running back or best running quarterback in football. Has he not watched Lamar play? Can we fucking stop?
Yeah, exactly. Lamar is a better running quarterback in football because he has a better arm. It makes him more dangerous on there. Um, Not like a stronger arm. I do think that Justin Fields has that. When Justin Fields links up his play all together in one, I can kind of get where people are coming from. But he's yet to really link that up for full games. I think the problem with Justin Fields is uh he's not very consistent. His inconsistency. There you go. That's the word that we're looking for. But yeah, I think second best though.
Running, I don't know. I have a problem with saying running quarterback because I feel like your passer ratings needs to be up there too. And he has 4 games under 50, and one of them was 27.
Yeah, I do think that will improve throughout this season as they use his legs more, so people will be more afraid of his legs and the passing game will improve. But
I think defenses are going to stop worrying about the pass and just block off him running and say, beat us with your arm.
Which is where I think he could actually surprise a few people in certain games. I'm not going to say he's going to come out there and absolutely blaze everybody with his ridiculously strong arm every single game that they play. But I feel like some game, his deep ball is good and he has a strong arm and he's good throwing in the red zone. But I do think that people forget that Justin Fields was given 2 opportunities to go win that game against Miami with his arm. He didn't have enough time. Yeah.
I think he's fucked, for a lack of a better term, is because his coaching. Like,
yeah,
Matt Nagy was awful. We don't even have to get into Matt Nagy. But then you have a chance to start all over. You have Justin Fields and you hire a defensive-minded head coach. Does not make any sense to me.
Yeah, and you don't like their best wide receiver is now Chase Claypool, who is by no means a bad receiver, but it's not like he's gonna change life in Chicago, I feel.
Right. And if you take your Cowboys, for example, right?
Yeah.
You have a great defense without having a defensive head coach because people don't pluck defensive head coaches or defense coordinators as much. San Francisco has a great defense and they don't have to have a defensive head coach. But I was really thinking about it. Let's go through, I mean, not team by team, but in your head, go through the league and what defensive head coach really has a great offense right now? Pete Carroll, maybe?
Yeah, I think Pete Carroll's a different type of dog though, because his energy spurts through the whole team.
Okay,
like I feel like he has effects on both sides of the ball. I feel like Eberflus kind of leaves it to the OC and the Bears.
I don't believe all of it is Justin Fields' fault. I just believe he's in a fucking great position to fail.
Yeah, 100%. And I said that coming out of the draft. I said if I genuinely feel if Trey Lance and Justin Fields swap places, Justin Fields would be obviously in a much better situation.
So it would have never happened, but let's say the Vikings draft Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Let him sit 2 years behind Kirk. Get a coach like Kevin O'Connell. And coming into next year, I would believe he'd have a better chance to succeed than what he was put through this year.
Yeah, 100%. And what he was put through last year, because last year he came out and he was kind of changing your mind a little bit with the way he was a baller. And he hasn't really improved in terms of actually throwing the ball since then, which isn't helpful. But he still has that ability to win games with you. I genuinely think if he sat behind somebody and had some packages thrown in at the start, or like somewhere like Tennessee as well may have been a good example where a quarterback's coming up on a another contract, and you're going to have to decide to pay him places like that. I feel like he would have been in a great position. And I still feel like he may be in a good position now because defensive coaches do like that run first offense, but he's never going to improve. He's like when you get those quarterbacks in high school football who are just the best athlete on the pitch. So they just go, fine, I'll do it myself.
He's going to give you spectacular plays. He's going to make you go, holy shit. And he's going to score points with his legs where I start to worry if I'm the team is, what if we're down by 17 going into the third?
Yeah, which is what happened, which I think is what a lot of people are overlooking when we're looking at Fields in the Miami game. So I believe that Fields deserves a lot of praise in the Miami game. I don't think the Bears had any business running with Miami for that long.
No, the Bears won the Super Bowl. Ask their fans.
Yeah, exactly. He had 2 opportunities to go and win that game, but he didn't have the time to run. Actually, the first drive, he would have had the time to run. I don't know why they didn't call more running plays, but anyway, he didn't have the time to run, so he had to win it with his arm, and he couldn't go and do it. So, as much praise as I heap on Justin Fields, and I think he deserves it, he's in a really shitty situation and is balling out. He may actually, he changes life a little bit for the Bears because they're able to actually build an offense around him that fits with their defense and their idea of controlling the play, controlling the field. He didn't go out and win them that game. That being said,
he'll give them just enough wins to sit at like 7 or 8 to make sure you can't get another quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know after these performances, I don't know whether they draft another.
I mean, for the rest of his career.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
He gives you just enough wins that you'll never be able to get another starting quarterback at the top of the draft, and you'll never make the playoffs or Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how the Bears' next few drafts go, actually, because they've got so much ridiculous amounts of draft capital that they can actually build something there.
I thank God every morning we hired Kawasi and not Poles.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you gave somebody else that amount of picks, like a Kawasi, if you gave Pete Carroll, like we gave Pete Carroll that amount of picks that the Bears are going to go in with, and all of a sudden they're back to a playoff contender straight away. However, do you have the faith in the Bears to use that draft capital? I'd rather have the talent already in the room if I have the drafting record.
Well, we'll see what Foles does, but I don't like the moves he's made so far.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, drive safe.
Yeah, don't let us make you laugh too loud that you kind of crash into stuff, Like, don't focus on us too much.
We will definitely get to that in a second. But since we're talking about how you use draft capital, there is something I got to bring up that you and I beat home in the beginning of the season during the draft, and we look like geniuses, and Belichick looks like a fucking idiot. Not move up, but you take Cole Strange in the first round, where I was praying the Vikings get him in the third, and you bench him 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I think it's that idea of, we all knew that Cole Strange had the abilities to have it could happen. We all know that Cole Strange has the ability to play lineman in the NFL. Like he's a good lineman. It's just, it's such a reach. Like, it was an amazing. They could have even taken him in the second round. There was nobody taking him. It sounded like there was nobody taking him until at least the third, by the fact of how everybody laughed at them. And then, so you could have taken him late second, and it would have made more sense.
The Rams didn't pick till the third round, and they thought he was going to be there for them.
Yeah, and it's what you could do. What you could do with that pick. Like, so think of the wide receivers that were there for that pick that you could give to Mac Jones. And I'm not saying that your rookie quarterback doesn't need an offensive lineman, but fuck me. Like, you could, do you know what? You could have got another offensive lineman, and you could have got Smith that the Cowboys took, and also Cole Strange as well. and got 2 starting guards in your draft picks. But no, you decided to go that route and take Cole Strange first. And yeah, it doesn't make any sense. What also doesn't make any sense is the fact that they seem to have ruined Mac Jones. So watching that, so Mac Jones is the Patriots fans are quite excited because Mac Jones has come back and won 2 games in a row now, which is good. But that's because he was the best quarterback on the field for those 2 games, which is great, but only because the other quarterbacks on the other side of the field were playing so terribly. So Zach Wilson, firstly, just Zach Wilson is better than Mac Jones, I believe, in terms of talent. And I'd rather have Zach Wilson making mistakes than Mac Jones. Just his floor's solid, but his ceiling's too low as well. So I'd rather have Zach Wilson and just see what happened. And then he played Sam Ehlinger, who seems like a strange call for Matt Ryan now, but we'll see what happens with Sam.
You would think you're a fucking professional with a segue because we're moving on to the biggest news of the fucking internet for NFL football. So I have zero problem with the Jeff Saturday hiring. Where I get super confused is you fired the play caller or you fired the head coach play caller, and the week before you fired the offensive coordinator. So I don't understand the move to bring in Jeff Saturday because of that. I know a lot of people are upset and going, he took away a spot that could go to other more proven coaches, and he did that. Jim Irsay's a fucking billionaire who owns a team. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. And I actually think more players should get more opportunities to coach without being interns. I'm not sure straight to head coach from high school is but it's his team, and he's a consultant. And if you're Jeff Saturday, what do you got to lose? They already suck. If you win 2 games and make that offensive line better, you look like you did a great fucking job.
Yeah, I think it might be the first time that I've seen an interim coach come from outside. I know he used to play lineman for the Colts, but he's outside the organization. Yeah,
but it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, it's a strange, that's a strange step for me. Also, he if he was playing high school ball and coaching this team's socks off and they were amazing, great. He has a losing record in high school coaching. And he's now coaching the Indianapolis Colts, which seems like a big step up. What I have loved that has come out is Peyton Manning screaming at him on the touchline, telling him that he doesn't call plays and to just run the fucking play that's been run. And now he's just gone. It's almost like he's harbored that feeling and gone, right, then.
Well, that's like his best friend in the whole world, though.
Yeah, yeah. Do you not think it would have been more interesting to bring Peyton Manning in as the head coach?
Think he
ask Peyton. No, you think it's like he doesn't want his first coaching job to be
I'm not even sure he wants to coach. Like, Peyton was pretty much a coach, and I think it's like, I got my kids, my wife, my nephews, my brothers. Like, it seems like the Mannings are living their best lives right now.
Yeah, and he wants to own the football team, doesn't he? So I guess he could help out the quarterbacks from that position. But yeah, he wants to own the football team. So yeah, maybe not the best for Jim Irsay. But it just seems like a weird hire to me. The Colts have come from a place of, I wonder what they can do this season. Like, bringing in Matt Ryan seems like an upgrade. They should have one of the best offensive lines in football. There's no reason for them not to. Jonathan Taylor should absolutely ball out. This is going to be really exciting. They've now sacked Frank Reich. They're playing Sam Ehlinger over Matt Ryan. And Jonathan Taylor looks like a bit of a shell of himself. I believe that's down to injury. Or also, the offensive line is one of the worst in the league.
If Jeff Saturday comes in and fixes that offensive line, they're going to win a couple games, and he's going to look good. Yeah.
I agree. But just then bring him in as offensive line coach.
If the Colts play decent football and win 2 or 3 games, you're not impressed with a guy who comes in off the street after everybody on the offense gets fired with a quarterback who's never played.
Yeah, obviously, I will be impressed. I don't see it happening, but I would be very impressed.
I'm telling you, they're going to win 2 to 3 games. He's going to fix the offensive line. He's one of the greatest centers in history of football.
Yeah, I just think there's more to head coaching than that. Like, I think if you're going to do that, then bring him in to fix the offensive line. Like, bring him in as the offensive line.
I love the move. And I think Jim Irsay
Yeah.
giving everybody a big fuck you is just awesome because it's not a Daniel Snyder fuck you.
Yeah. I'm excited about it. It makes them more interesting. It makes them more interesting to actually talk about. Sorry?
Can you be worse?
Well, I was thoroughly expecting to not really talk about the Colts for the rest of the season. So now we get to talk about them every week again, which is fun because they're a great fan base as well, which is a lot of fun. They're always very active on Facebook if you slag off any of their players, which is great. I think I said something against Jonathan Taylor on one of the Facebook chats in NFL UK saying, I know the offensive line's bad, but does Jonathan Taylor have to take some blame? ? Just trying to fire up some debate to see what people say because I like to gauge the water. And yeah, I got some pretty fucking strong hate on that one, not going to lie. That's not my take, by the way. I'd just like to see what people say.
Well, let's move on to some games. And I'm going to get the big rant out of the way. Let's talk the Vikings Commanders. I wasn't even going to bring this up. I text you if the Vikings lost the game because it would have sounded like sour grapes.
Yeah.
But because they won, I got to point out how fucking bad the officials were to the point where I literally went back and watched the long version of the game to see what actually was going on, where I was focused more on the plays and what the refs were doing than the actual game. So against the Commanders that were missed, penalties the Vikings made against the Commanders that they missed. So they should have been on the Vikings.
Right.
2 holds. I'll give them a pass interference that was very close and something that could have been considered a blindside block. Okay. I don't think it was rigged at all, but I'm just saying this was very bad. So against the Vikings, 5 pass interferences missed where they were tackling the receiver on 4 of them before the ball got there.
Yeah.
3 offensive pass interferences where they shoved off the defensive player and they literally shoved fucking Evans on his ass on one of the plays before catching the ball. Roughing the passer on Kirk Cousins' ribs because that was helmet to ribs. He used the crown of his helmet. Where did I go? An illegal blindside block on the kickoff, which was nasty and could have cost them the game. And this is one of the pass interferences, but they literally tackled Justin Jefferson in the end zone before he catches the ball.
I was surprised about Justin Jefferson not getting a few more calls on pass interference.
They called a illegal contact because they were touching each other, but it was within 3 yards of the play, and you can go 5. This was highlighted on different shows where they even watched that. And the big one of the day, the ref fucking tackles Cam Bynum and throws a pick on anybody who's watched Cam Bynum knows he is catching that ball. That's an interception and a turnover, and it turns into a fucking touchdown and could have completely changed that game for the Commanders. Something needs to be done about the refs.
Yeah, it's getting so it goes against every fucking bone in my rugby playing body to complain about referees. It's not what we do. It would be cool to have a clip in at some point. I'll send you one for the next time we're going to talk about the refs as to how rugby players talk to refs and how rugby is refereed. I think it would be a good way for the NFL to kind of go about things because they're very similar.
The weird video you sent me of people sitting in a circle hoo-haing like we're at the restaurant hoo-ha.
No, the Fijian, they were singing the
I
Fijian
felt like
New
I don't know if you know what a hoo-ha is, but anybody here, it's where you go around, they cook their food right in front of you. What's it called? Teppanyaki, whatever.
Yeah, teppanyaki.
And they just go, hoo-ha! Hoo-ha! Cooking your food. That's what I felt like I was in when you're walking in a circle around there.
I think that was, I kind of send you some weird rugby shit a lot of the time,
No, it was
actually.
cool, but I had to give you
Yeah.
shit because it's
It's
weird
like,
to me as an American.
it's
Like,
like South Sea Islanders doing the hacker and things like that. But no, yeah. So, but on that note, the refs were shit in your game, and they have had, I think they've had
I
weird
saw it on the Sunday
instances.
night game too.
Yeah, they've had weird instances of evening. It feels to me like they're evening out games,
Well,
in my personal opinion.
and it's very weird because you're trained as a ref, and I learned that this week. When that ball was thrown the way it is, run towards the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Why did he run backwards? And like, I just, and
Good
I want to
pick.
know if they're getting all this gambling money, the NFL is now getting all this gambling money. How many gamblers lost because of that fucking play on point spread and different things?
Yeah.
Prop bets.
Yeah. And what they said about that was that the referee is part of the field of play, and therefore he, therefore you need to take him into account.
Fuck that.
In it, yeah, weird. In rugby, we do, if the referee gets in the way and causes an obstruction, which changes the dynamic of the play. So if you pass the ball and it hits him, or if you just fucking straight up run into him, or if he's creates a hole in the defense that the guy runs through, redo the you just redo it. You just
At
go back.
worst,
Just
at
redo the
worst,
play.
that's what it should be like. Referee interference.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and it was
Cancel it
it.
out.
I
Go
will
again.
say Cam Bynum handled it better than I could because he said the ref apologized to him on the next series, and he just
Mhm.
said to the ref, "Don't. It's football. I'm focused on this series, so don't worry about it."
Yeah, and I think the referees have been poor this season. They were especially bad in that game. Um, all Cowboys fans out there will know this. Also, go watch any Cowboys game and see how many times that Micah Parsons is held.
If Cam
He's
Bynum gets one more interception and then doesn't get another one the rest of the year, I'm suing that ref for my 500,000 because three of them gets him $500,000.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully he'll get a number. Yeah, because that's a big touchdown. That's a big play. That's a big play, game changing. And the Vikings still, I felt, were in control of that game, even though it felt like shit. And PFF
I just
have
don't think
actually
they should have
drawn.
ever been in that situation.
Yeah, no way. Like, no way. It shouldn't have ever felt that close. And I think I was listening to PFF today, and they've adjusted that score in their stats to be 27-17. I think what they said, mitigating the refs' issues, they would have called it a 27-17 game. They've also given, so when they're talking about explaining the grades and things like that, so Taylor Heineke gets a huge touchdown on that play, but they've drawn him up for it goes against his PFF rating because it it's a potential interception play. It should have been an interception, which goes against. So if you're a quarterback, the way that PFF grades it, if you're a quarterback and you throw something that should have been an interception and it's not intercepted because the secondary drops it or something gets in the way, like uh,
Ref
offensive pass
tackles the guy.
interference, like those kind of things, then you still get the marks against your PFF grade. So Taylor Heineke gets what was it, a 40-yard touchdown, like something like that. He gets a 40-yard touchdown taken against him in his PFF rating because it should have been an interception, which is why I like PFF.
Well, the next question I have for you today, Maddie, is are the Packers dead?
Yeah.
I agree.
What are they now? 3 games behind in the division.
6 losses, right? So five and a half games behind.
5.5 get. Wow, that's bad.
In the loss category, it's 4.5 if you go by the win category.
Yeah.
So we can call it 5 because we haven't played. They haven't had their bye yet. But
yeah, you also have the head-to-head over them so far as well right now. So
correct.
Yeah.
And then we have the other tiebreaker because we have 0 division losses.
Yeah. And they've also still got to play against the Cowboys. So that's this week. And I think the Cowboys are a really bad matchup for them, actually. Like, they're like a horrible matchup for the Packers.
Unless you guys decide that this week, like, oh, the Packers are simple, we're not going to play. It's not even going to be close. The only way the Cowboys lose is if they don't show up. to play.
And Aaron Jones' foot is in a boot, so he's injured as well.
I fucking love it. A boot.
A boot, yeah.
A boot.
So he's out as well. So they've got the Cowboys, and then they've got the Eagles, and then they've got the Titans. So that's 3 horrible matchups for them.
And
I feel like they'll
play the Packers, Bears, and Lions again.
Yeah, they still have to play the Vikings, Bears, Lions. Are the Packers the worst team? I know they're not on record because of the Lions record so far. Are they the worst team in the NFC North for the first time in a very, very, very long time?
I would say they're the third team. If you want me to rank them, I think it's Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bears.
You think the Bears? So if they played today,
I think the Lions are going to prove they're better than the Bears this week.
Yeah, me too. But so I would go Vikings, Lions, Bears, Packers.
Packers did beat the Bears.
Yeah, I think the Bears are in a much better situation than them when that game was played. I think if they played each other this week, the Bears would win.
I don't, just because Rodgers owns them. And I'm not even being funny because he says that, but like literally Rodgers knows that their team better than they know their own team, it seems like at times.
I think it would be really interesting. I wish they were playing this week, like when they're coming off a huge.
I don't
game.
think they play until 16 or 17.
Yeah,
and then we play and the other one.
Yeah, and the Bears will have gone off the rails by then, or Rodgers might have lit something up. I also saw Dan Orlovsky's article. Have you seen this?
No, but I did listen to him talk yesterday. So what are we talking about?
It's so good. I love this take, by the way. It won't happen, but I love it. So if you lose this week, you sit Aaron Rodgers for the rest of the season. You see, hey man, help us out. Let us see what we've got in Jordan Love, which he won't do. But you sit Aaron Rodgers, and then you know what you have in Jordan Love, so you can get some trade value if you trade Jordan Love away, or you might want to keep Jordan Love or whatever. And then Aaron Rodgers can come back fresh next season when you have a chance to fix things, or he can leave. And you still know what you've got in Jordan Love. And the chances are, if Jordan Love is what we think he is, which is not good, you'll have a top 10, top 5 first round pick in the draft that you can use on a quarterback to replace Jordan Love. And I just think it's an interesting idea, sitting Aaron Rodgers for the rest of the season.
Well, 3 things. 1, that's exactly why Dan Orlovsky hasn't got the coaching job he's been wanting, because he is smart enough to have one. It takes like that. 2, your fan base will lose their fucking mind.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's why it won't happen.
3, you might end up getting fined from the NFL for tanking. That's the most belligerent tanking I would ever see in all of football.
Do you know what?
MVP to the bench.
Yeah.
A guy who
I just don't know whether you can. Yeah, I just don't know whether you can call it tanking when they're losing so badly.
The only teams that tank are the ones that are losing.
Well, yeah, but I'm just not sure how much difference Aaron Rodgers can make. I'm not saying John Love is not better than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is also still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm not saying any of this. He just doesn't like any of his wide receivers, doesn't trust any of them. He doesn't have any time to throw the ball, it seems. They can't get anything going on offense, and their defense is underperforming. You could legitimately see the Green Bay Packers only win maybe 2-3 games for the rest of the season. So I'm not sure how much tanking it would be to see what you've got in Jordan Love. I'd say maybe give it a bit longer than this week, than this next week. If you lose, give it a bit longer to make it all look more legit.
I think where you can appease everybody, it all depends on if the Vikings they have a tough stretch through the next 4 games. So let's see where they come out on the other side. But after those next 4 games, if the Vikings have the division put away and you can't make the playoffs, then I say play them for the last 5 games or whatever it is.
Yeah, definitely. I just think the reason it won't happen is because your fan base will go fucking crazy. It's the same with Eli Manning and Geno Smith. Same deal. You're not allowed to do it. You can't do it. but it would be so. I just thought it was a really interesting take, and I liked it a lot. I liked the idea and where it was coming from.
I get where he's coming from. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it's takes like that, even if they make sense, are why he hasn't got a fucking coaching job. Because GMs are like, Dan, like what the
Yeah, it's like you can't. It's almost like he doesn't understand that you can't do that
So,
fucking shit because you've got to appease the fans.
when Dan Orlovsky was a Colt, do you know who his center was?
Was it Jeff Saturday by any chance?
So maybe Jeff Saturday, who was working at ESPN, and him and Dan are really good friends at ESPN, you call Dan up and go, come call plays for me.
Yeah, come be the GM and just do the
What's
fucking
going to happen, though,
shit.
is if Saturday wins this job, and I heard this on the Pat McAfee show from Darius Butler, and I did not know this was the case. I thought Dan Campbell went out and hired ex-players because he wanted them. He hired ex-players because coaches wouldn't sign to be on his staff.
Interesting.
Because he's an ex-player and they didn't want to get fired right away. And so if Jeff Saturday can't get real coaches, or I hate to say real coaches, can't get established coaches, and he gets the gig, because who knows what Irsay will do. Do you have does he have to hire all ex-players? I don't know. It was weird. I didn't know that about Dan Campbell until they talked about it this week on Pat McAfee.
Yeah, just call up all the best analysts in football. Pat McAfee come run the special plays, special teams.
You get Darius Butler in as a DB coach. You get maybe Orlovsky in as a quarterback
and then call
coach.
Orlovsky. Yeah, call up Tony Romo as the offensive coordinator. That'd be fucking wild. I would love to see that, by the way. Tony Romo is an offensive.
That's another guy who ain't walking away from his $24 million a year to get coaching.
Why the fuck would you? But I just love that idea. What I'm saying. I would just love to see it.
What Jim Irsay needs to do just to give the league a big fuck you is hire John Gruden.
Brian Flores.
But that would be a good hire that somebody should have fucking done. And shout out to Pittsburgh for actually having the balls to hire that man on their staff.
Yeah, 100%. And the Pittsburgh defense is actually looking okay.
So on to a game that I just want to start out this way. Jets, Jets. They're, to me this year, not that I think they're going to win anything, they're my darling team. I'm really a fan of Rob Saleh. I really like a lot of players on that team, and I'm very interested to watch them to see how they progress. That's why I watch their games every week. Not because I think the Jets are going to win. I want to watch their progression. I love that kind of shit, and I'm a big fan of Rob Saleh. And we're seeing, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl before people jump on me, but we're seeing a team that's becoming a team.
Yeah, I've watched every snap of the Jets this season, every single snap, because it's how young they are. It's how young their team is. And I think they're building this team for the future, for the long haul. And it's great to see.
Also, before you get done talking, because you do it the best, let them know about our boy Sauce too.
Yeah, so I was just literally next sentence.
Okay, perfect.
I think I think they may have the best cornerback in the league right now.
Best young corner for sure.
I'm all tempted to say he's the best cornerback in the league right now, because you take the physical ability that he has and think of he's got the ridiculous amount of intelligence as well for somebody this age. Like, his football IQ is really impressive, and you just keep on adding that on. Like, just keep on adding that up. This guy's defensive rookie of the year for me right now, like, hands down, nobody close.
And the only thing that stops me from calling him the best corner right now is there's some things that I saw in that game that just come from experience that he doesn't have. Yeah. Stephon Diggs made him bite on 3 different plays that I'm not sure a lot of other corners would have been on, just because you know what route he has to run. But that's not taking anything away from him, because if you look at his pass defense, it is out of this world good. But the first play of the drive, when Diggs sold him on that, he can't go in, Sauce. Your safety's in there. He can't do it, so don't bite. But that's something that Sauce will probably never bite on again.
That's one of those things that you're allowed those as a cornerback, even
Well,
though
as a
most
rookie, I don't think he'll ever let himself have that happen again, because once he gets it shown to him and thinks about it, he's like, oh, yeah, there's no way he can go inside because I have safety help. So he'll
yeah
never bite on that again. I don't
yeah
believe.
even as the more experienced cornerbacks are allowed one or two of those a year. He's played against not before this game. He played against Jamar in man on man. He played against Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. He's also played against Stephon Diggs now, and one
And
more
in
amazing wide receiver,
and
and I
in
can't
4
remember who it
games
is.
from now, he gets to play JJ. So, like,
Yeah, yeah,
seriously, it's like he's going
yeah,
against the best of the best this year.
yeah. And he's, I think he's only let up something like it's something because that Stephon Diggs play technically wasn't in man on man because his safety's over the top,
Good
so it's
safety.
technically his own. But it's something ridiculous. Like in those games, he's only given up like 80 something yards in all of those combined, and only given up 2 touchdowns, and that includes Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who seem to be like Tyreek Hill should be in the MVP conversation for me. Jamar Chase changes life for the Bengals whenever he's on the field. He's played some amazing guys, and I really think he needs to. He's a star for the future. He may be one of the best cornerbacks to play the game by the time that we're done. So that'll be great.
None of those guys, and I'm not saying you're wrong, will ever win an MVP because you have to be a quarterback.
Yeah,
Maybe if you're lucky, a running back. And once every decade, they throw a D end in there, or hence slash linebacker, Lawrence Taylor, Ray Lewis type. Like, but other than that, it's a
yeah,
quarterback fucking
yeah, 100%. It's just the
award.
fact that Tua is getting. I wanted to talk about this actually when we were talking about the Bears game to give Miami a shout out. Miami's offense is absolutely awesome. Defenses seem to be coming back this year and being able to stop a bit easier. There seems to be less big scoring games, like huge plays. Like the Dallas Cowboys are the only team to get up to 49 points this year, which is something that we don't see every single season. And the Dolphins are scheming up stuff that is they're just open. So people are saying that when Tua was coming out, oh, the league is so different. You're not going to have Alabama wide open. Like now, it turns out Tua does have Alabama wide open, but Tua's getting MVP buzz, and his MVP buzz should be Tyreek Hill's MVP buzz, in my personal opinion. But yeah, the Jets are incredible. I love what they've got with Breece Hall. I think for this iteration of the Jets, they go as far as Zach Wilson takes them. And I think Zach Wilson, if he learns to control that arm talent, he's like Josh Allen in his second year in the league right now, or Josh Allen playing against the Jets, actually, where he's got this confidence and this arm talent that he can fit it in everywhere. He just needs to learn how to use it.
All right. You want to run through our top 10 power rankings?
Let's do it, man.
All right. So I'll start out. My number 10 power ranking for this week is the New York Jets.
The New York Jets, okay. Mine is the Tennessee Titans. I've got the Tennessee Titans in it. 10. I feel like they run the Chiefs very, very close last week and they could play hard ball. I've got the Jets very close to where you've got them.
Yeah, see, because at number 9, I got the Titans. I do, and
Cool.
I went back and forth. And the thing to me was I know that they got more veteran of a team. So I have a little more confidence in what the Titans can do. So that's why they were 9 for me.
Yeah, number 9, I've got the Jets. So that's good. But I've got the Jets. I think the Titans make a lot of sense at number 9 though as well in terms of power rankings, because their road to a home playoff game is a lot easier than the Jets' road to a home playoff game.
Well, at number 8, I got the Washington Geno Smith.
I so thought you were going to say the Commanders. I was about to lose it. Yeah, good pick. I like it. I've got the Seahawks, and I feel disrespectful for saying it. I've got them at 12.
Okay.
Out of 15. But
they're the hardest team for me to judge, though. They really are. But they're on a fucking roll. Geno's playing better than I ever thought he would. They got a fucking stud rookie running back. So I'm just like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, with Seattle, I think it's different. I think it's difficult to go, yeah, like definitely Seattle. I'm in on the ride. Just because it still looks like when you look at their team, there are holes everywhere, and they just don't seem to be. They seem to have hit on every single draft pick. So, great pick. I've got the Cincinnati Bengals at number 8. I think the fact that they've been able to run the ball with Joe Mixon in that last game will serve them in good stead now while they're waiting for Jamar Chase to come back.
All right. Well, at number 7, I got the San Francisco 49ers.
Cool. I've got the San Francisco 49ers at 11. Because the way that we do this. I think I think I might stand on a hill and die by this point. That the 49ers injury problems are self-inflicted. It's too much of a coincidence that they have so many injuries that it's not something that's wrong in their building. So therefore, I can't trust them. Everybody's like, when the 49ers are healthy, they're going to be amazing. When the 49ers are healthy, they're going to be amazing. They're 4-4 because they can't keep their players healthy. It was a problem last season. It was a problem the season before, the season before that, the season before that. They need to stop having excuses for not being healthy. It might be something to do with them. In terms of talent, they're easily top 5, like in all-round roster talent and coaching.
You and I touched on it a couple podcasts ago, too. There's something in that strength and conditioning that's not keeping them healthy.
Yeah. So if the idea is that when the 49ers are healthy, they can go do this, I don't think they will ever be healthy. Like with just the way that it goes, just for some reason. And also Jimmy Garoppolo might choke, but I kind of still love Jimmy. So we'll see how that goes. At number 7, I've got the Baltimore Ravens. I think their defense looked aggressive like in their last game. I love what their defense was doing. It looked so fast. It looked like it was just horrible to play against. And when you've got Lamar Jackson at the back of that field, he just makes... He's one of those slippery bastards, Jay, that you hate to play against so much. So, yeah, he's one of those guys.
Well, at number 6, I have the Baltimore Ravens. And I really have to say, people be ready when Lamar and D-Jack get on the same page. Jackson was open a couple times, big, and Lamar overthrew him once and underthrew him once. Wait till those two get on the same page because they haven't had enough time to play together to really click. When they get clicking, and it'll probably be by the playoffs, people are really going to have to respect D-Jack's speed with Lamar back there, which is going to open up a ton for Lamar and Kenyon Drake and those guys. It's very impressive, and I'm really impressed what they did without Andrews, and I know he didn't go off, but I really like their young tight end Likely.
Yeah, I really like what they've got in the building of the Ravens. Their defense is fire. They're going to be getting Gus Edwards, I think, is coming back after the bye. His hamstring injury was day-to-day anyway, and then they've got the bye week this week. So that should be a good for them. But also Kenyon Drake ran like really fucking well this week as well. So that's always good. And I really hope that they use D-Jack kind of sparingly. I hope that they don't destroy him by the playoffs. That's what I mean. Like, what I'm saying is like, just don't get him on the fucking pitch for like 90% of the snaps because in the regular season, like save that guy until the playoffs.
100% of the snaps. Quit trying to shit on my fantasy team.
It's a bit of that and a bit of I hope that his legs hang out. Well, I don't actually. I'm not big on the Ravens, but yeah. Number 6, I have the Miami Dolphins at number 6, and I just want to see one ball. So I'm not too bothered about because a lot of people have Miami higher in their rankings. I've seen, so I'm not too bothered about wide receivers having to come back for the ball onto his deep ball throws. I'm not too bothered about it because that's a hard throw to make. It's not always going to go in your hands. And he's got 2 wide receivers that are happy to come back for it for him. And that's great. I just want to see him make one where he just lights up with Tyreek Hill going down the field before I can be like, yeah, definitely. Because they're the kind of plays that you need to hit in the playoffs. So
I have the Dolphins at 11.
Wow. Okay. Explain.
Well, I think head-to-head, all these teams beat them.
Wow, okay. I mean, they did go close with the Lions and then the Bears. So I see where that is.
I still think they're a monster team that could prove me wrong at any given time.
Yeah.
So that's not a shitting on them. I just think there's some teams that are balling out of their mind right now in the NFL.
Yeah, when I just watch that Dolphins offense, it's frightening. And
It
also their defense is decimated, but it's a team it's not like the 49ers where they've been injured. Like, it seems like Kyle Shanahan's never had a team that's been fully fit. It's not that kind of injury spate, but their defense is really injured. So when they get healthier, then I feel like that'll plug up some of the holes that they've been finding. They've been playing guys that they've just picked up off the street the week before.
So unless you're going to hold my feet to the fire, I have 4 and 5 as a slash, and I want them to figure it out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, same. I like it. I like where this is going.
Cowboys, let the winner figure it out in the game. Vikings, Cowboys, 4 and 5. I didn't even separate them.
Sounds good to me. The only reason I've put the Cowboys above the Vikings is because
if you'd have put my feet to the fire, I would have took the Vikings and gave you 5 reasons. But it's like they're so good, and I think they're real close teams, and I want to see them play. Well, not I want to see them play, but I don't want to live through them playing.
I'm not going to watch that game. I think I might just leave that one. I think I might just leave it. Just see what the result is, and then we'll talk about it after. The Cowboys and the Vikings, they're very much in the same vein of players. It's run the ball first and then have an awesome passing game off that offense. And then the Cowboys rely on an amazing pass rush and taking the ball away, whereas the Vikings seem to have a really solid secondary all of a sudden, which is great.
And a lot of turnovers. Like, their turnover margin is high. So this game's going to come down to like who does not make a mistake.
Yeah, which will be interesting to watch because it'll be interesting to watch how Dak and Kirk play in that game. It'll be very interesting to see. I think the Cowboys are getting healthier and they're clicking together more, which is awesome. Obviously, they've got the defensive player of the year in their team, Micah Parsons as well. But then
he can't be defensive player of the year. And is it him or Sauce?
No, Sauce is rookie defensive player.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, my bad.
But I also think the Sauce should be in the running for defensive player of the year, but he won't get it because he's a rookie. That's why
I'd still give it to Parsons, but I agree with you.
Yeah. I think he may be closer. He may be close, but not as close as Parsons was in his rookie season, because I think Parsons should have got it last year as well. But they've also got Micah Parsons, but then you guys have JJ, so it all gets very dicey and complicated. Now, at number 3, I have, making a big drop, the Buffalo Bills at number 3.
I have the Bills at 3 also. One last thing. Both of our defenses are going to have a lot of guys in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. A lot of our offensive guys are going to be in the Pro Bowl. It's going to be a fun game to watch if you're not a fan of either team.
Yeah. It's going to be good. I'm not really sure how many of our players will be in the offensive players will be in the Pro Bowl,
Go Maybe look at their numbers, man. Some of them have better numbers than you'd think.
Yeah, 100%. That's the way that our offense is kind of working. Like, not too flashy, go out, win a game. Yeah. Zach Martin's the guy for me that's nailed on to be in the Pro Bowl, and then Tony Pollard will probably be there as well. So we've both got the Bills there. I think the reason
my reasoning is they dropped for me wasn't because of the loss, it's because of the injury.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I like it. Have you got more news on that? Like, how long?
He didn't practice again, and everybody's saying that they don't think he's going to play, but they're playing the game time decision game. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Now, granted, not the injury, that them not saying it, I don't think is a big deal, because Case Keenum and Josh Allen, even though one's way better than the other, have the same style game. So if you're prepping for Josh Allen, you're covered for Case Keenum because the offense doesn't change. They both scramble out of the pocket and run. Like, so I don't think that it makes a huge difference on preparation. Whereas if Patrick Mahomes or Lamar is out, it changes everything completely on how you study the team.
Yeah, I love Case Keenum as a backup quarterback as well. I think he's a great kind of backup to have. For me, the Bills is their complacency. It feels like they had already decided they were the best team in the NFL about 2 games ago, and they've now been smacked in the mouth twice. Like the game against the Packers shouldn't have been that close, and then they've been beaten by their division rival in the Jets. So I feel like they need to eradicate that quick, because it's not something that you like to see. The team that I've got in second are definitely not feeling any complacency. I think they still live by that thing of the world's against us. I've got the Philadelphia Eagles, as much as it pains me to say, at number 2.
I got the Kansas City Chiefs at number 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think right now, if they both played their best game, the Eagles beat the Chiefs by 10.
Wow, really?
If they're both playing their best game, yeah.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts is fucking balling. Miles Sanders is running the shit out of that ball. That offensive line is keeping everybody standing. A.J. Brown's a freaking monster, and that defense is playing fast.
Yeah, I want them to get one really good win, like under their belt, like one win where it's just like, yeah, without a doubt, best team.
How about week 3? They beat a 7-1 team in week 3 without even being close.
Oh, yeah, but they beat you guys. But yeah, maybe one more. I don't know. I'm not counting the game against us because it was against Cooper Rush, even though Cooper Rush was like playing really well at the time.
I don't beat them the next time you play, but I think that's just an NFC East thing.
Yeah, I don't really want to take away from what they've done. Well, as much as I fucking hate them, I really like their offense and how it works. I really like how they build the team. The process is all great. I just know that the Kansas City Chiefs can win when their backs are against the wall and Patrick Mahomes just comes out and just destroys teams when their backs are against the wall and in the playoffs. And Jalen Hurts is 0-1 in the playoffs. I mean, not a fair comparison because they shouldn't have really made the playoffs last year. They made the playoffs a year too early last year. But yeah, I just want to see one game where nobody can say that was a cakewalk for them. Like one game where they go behind and they have to come back in the fourth quarter and that kind of game. That's what I want to see. If they beat the Cowboys in that fashion, then yeah, like 100%. Or if they beat anybody in that fashion, to be honest, then yeah, 100%. But they've kind of just cakewalked everybody, which shouldn't take away from them either. The fact that you can just fucking cakewalk everybody and the Kansas City Chiefs have to come from 10 points down all the time, like that's not necessarily a big deal. I just know that the Kansas City Chiefs can do that.
So we have 2 games we have to hit too quick because there is a morning game that we won't talk about until after it's played.
Oh, right.
So
yep.
Who you got going tonight? And I mean, like, what's your prediction for tonight?
Let me just go to what I've written down there. For tonight, I have the Atlanta Falcons beating the Carolina Panthers. I think the Panthers shouldn't have even been fucking close the last time these guys played. The Falcons are a much better team than them. They let the Panthers back in the game, and I'm riding on that Falcons offense. I like it a lot.
It's okay, fun. So I'm taking the Falcons also, but I do have a question for the Panthers. PJ Walker goes 0 for 9. You bench him.
Yeah.
Baker comes in. They score 21 points.
Mm-hmm.
And you go back to PJ.
PJ Walker got -2 points in fantasy football. Do you know
why are they going back to PJ this week? Like, that's what I don't get. Like, you're tanking. Just admit it. You're tanking.
Yeah, it's because they're the Carolina fucking Panthers. That's why they're doing it. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to do anything that they do a lot of the time this season. If you're gonna do that, then give up DJ Moore. Like, fucking come on. Like, yeah. And Baker came in and showed what Baker's all about again. And I genuinely think Baker's start to this season this year was a bit of an anomaly. Like, that's not him. That's not his talent level. That's other going on around. And then I think he comes back in, he gives them the juice. They score 21 points. I'd be more worried if Baker was playing rather than PJ Walker, to be honest. I could see Baker in by the second quarter, though, which makes it even more stupid that he's not playing.
Absolutely. So let's get to that Germany game. We got the Washington Genos. That's what I'm calling them from now on.
Yep, like it.
Versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Uh-huh.
I got Tom Brady winning this game in Germany. He is the biggest fucking NFL icon right now in Germany. His jersey is selling out of control. And here's a crazy stat. If Tom Brady makes the playoffs this year, it'll be his 50th playoff game in his career.
Do you know what's fucking wild? That London has never got a good league. It's the first time that two winning record teams played each other in London was this year. And they've been doing it for 10 years now. And Germany get fucking Tom Brady the first year that they have one. Bullshit. A British underdog shit is really hitting hard on me right now. But I think those last two drives struck a fire underneath the Buccaneers. I moved the Buccaneers really far up in the power rankings. I had them sitting at 13th this week because they have a really easy road to home playoff games that they'll then play against people like Geno Smith or Jalen Hurts, which when you put Tom Brady and Jalen Hurts, that's not a shot on him. It's just Tom Brady's playoff experience compared to Jalen Hurts' playoff experience. So I really think they struck something there. I think the way that Tom Brady prepares, he's not going to be phased by going to Germany, really. It'd be interesting to see how this young Seahawks team cope with it, especially when this stadium, even if it's not really Buccaneer fan heavy, it's going to feel like it is because that stadium is Bayern Munich Stadium and that shit is red as fuck. So it's going to really feel like it's all Tampa Bay Buccaneers everywhere. And it'll be interesting to see how they deal with it. I'm taking the Tampa Bay New Bachelors in that game.
All right. Well, there you have it. We made it through. And we got another probably shitty Thursday night football game for you all tonight.
Oh, Jeff Bezos is fucking fuming.
Yeah, and I just seen they flexed the Steelers out of next Sunday night or something. So,
yeah, well, that sounds right.
The Thursday night games, they can't give them a flex, though, because you can't flex a team into Thursday because it makes it too weird in the scheduling.
Yeah, they don't have enough time to get used to that.
And then, that short week. That's another thing we'll talk about on Sunday that makes me nervous. The Vikings play 3 games in 11 days.
Yeah, fun. That's a soccer schedule, that right there.
Yeah, so we'll see. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Check us out Sunday for the pregame show. We'll give you any more news that comes out, and we'll give you our picks for Sunday's game.
Yeah, sounds awesome. I'll be talking to you guys from Thailand, which is exciting.
Yes.
Live the NFL is coming from Thailand.
All right, guys. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.